Hello dear students, my name is Bal Subramaniam. Dear students, are you in confusion what models to read and what problems to learn when exams are getting closer, right? Then this video for you. Dear students, in this video I am going to give you certain most important models from questions, and at the same time I will provide you the proof of evidence also why you have to learn these models and these questions in order to clear your coming public exam, particularly financial management paper in January 2025. If you get command over these questions, right, pass is pakka, but condition applies. You have to read and you have to learn, right? So most important models and questions. This is for CA Inter guest questions model subject for financial management. First of all, I would like to tell you the most important chapter, financial analysis and through ratios. Well, dear students, ratio analysis. If being a financial management student, if you want to understand whether the company is performing better or worst or an average, if you want to know, means you have to make analysis. This analysis can be done with the support of ratios. That is a basic idea of this chapter. But here, past exam, if you observe that, what models they have been covering. So there are two models. Number one is, first one is not two models, three models. First one is finding missing financial item using ratios. Indirectly, what happens in this model, they will provide you income statement, right? That is a trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet. And they will ask you to find it out, net profit, gross profit, quick ratio, current ratio, whatever the information they need, they will ask you. So this model is very important. So in our guest questions, what are the problems covered in this model, you try to learn. You try to understand, dear students, this model is covered in November 18, May 19, November 19, November 20, May 22, November 23. But the coming exam, hardly they will ask you one question. So that is the first model, you give a priority for that, right? Second one, preparation of financial statement. This is a different story. So this time what happened, they will give you ratios, some data. Basing on that, you have to construct financial statement, that is a profit and loss account, as well as balance sheet. So this is also important model. So here the past exam track, if you observe, May 18, November 20, 21, July 21, December and May 23 they asked. And finally one more model is a profitability ratios. Any business ultimate objective is to make a profit, right? For that purpose, each and every stakeholder is interested with respect to profitability. For that purpose, profitability ratios are very important, right? They will certainly ask you various profitability ratios. So in this model, whatever the problems, guest questions is covered, you try to learn this one, dear students. Don't ignore this model, because November 19, November 20 and November 22, these models are asked, right? This is very important. It does not mean that only these models only you read. No, remaining problems also you can concentrate, but first give the first priority to these questions, right? Coming to next model, cost of capital, right? Cost of capital is the minimum rate of return that a company must earn to keep the expectations of fund providers. Who are the fund providers? Equity shareholders, preference shareholders, debenture holders, yes or no? So from this, basing on this information, you have to calculate weighted average cost of capital. This is the theme of the chapter, right? In this theme, what are the most important models we can expect? So calculation of cost of capital basing on book value. Basing on book value, we used to calculate source of capital and book value and the specific cost and the product. Basing on that, we used to calculate weighted average cost of capital. This is the most important model they've been asking for essay question. Particularly May 19 and May 23, they asked this model. And at the same time, calculation of cost of capital. Next, basing on market value. Book value is gaya. Now we have to take the market value. So number of security into book issue price or book price, if you take it, this is a book value. Number of security into market price, if you take it, you will get the market value. Market value also very important, dear students. So here we used to take the same source of capital, but this time market value we will take, and specific cost and product. By multiplying this, you used to get that value, right? So here you try to understand market value, January 21, December 21, June 21, November 2022 and May 23, they've been asked this model. So considering book value, market value is very important. Don't neglect questions from this model. And thereafter, marginal cost of capital. When company need additional capital, in such a case, what would be the cost of capital would be? That is the purpose of learning or asking questions from this model. Marginal cost. The word marginal represents additional. So past exam track, if you observe November 19, June, November 20, November 23, how many times they been asked this model? That's why pay attention, right? And first, if it is not 10 marks, if they will ask you for 5 marks, means there is a chance to ask cost of convertible bonds. So they asked for 2 times this model, right? Cost of equity plays very, very important, particularly growth approach where DKE equal to DPS 1 divided by market price plus growth rate. This model is important. CAPM approach also very important, where RF plus beta into RM minus RF. There is a much chance to ask a short mark question from this model, right? And another one is a capital structure. Capital structure, it is a mix of long-term funds. Whenever company need a capital, the company has to raise this required funds from various long-term sources. The what composition they have to make so that the market value should be high and overall cost of capital should be low. That is the ultimate purpose of this chapter. Yeah, here you have a multiple analysis to determine optimum capital structure. So important models, if you observe, right, EBIT, EPS analysis. EBIT, EPS analysis. Oh my God, 18, 19, 21, 23, 23, and November 23 also they asked, right? Past exam, EBIT, EPS analysis. Nothing but we will take a EBIT in each of the financial plan and we will calculate EPS. In which financial plan EPS is highest, that plan we will recommend. Sometimes EBIT market price analysis means we will take EBIT and we will calculate the market price. With the support of PE ratio, EPS into PE ratio, by multiplying both used to get the market price. In which financial plan gives you highest market price, that would be recommended. This is the EBIT, EPS analysis, EBIT market price analysis. So this model plays very, very important. Several times this model is asked. Thereafter, financial break-even point, indifference point. Financial break-even point, it is the level of EBIT at which EPS is 0. That is a financial break-even point. Indifference point, it is the level of EBIT at which EPS remains same between two financial plans. So that is the indifference point. That is also asked May 18 and November 20. And at the same time, Modigliani-Miller approach. Modigliani-Miller approach is an irrelevant model. So this model practically proves net operating income theory. You try to understand. They asked in 18, 21 and November 22 also they asked. Thereafter, net operating income approach also we should consider. David Durant's second theory, debt equity mix does not change. KO and market value of firm is the ultimate theme level of net operating income approach. And thereafter, arbitrage also you have to concentrate. Thereafter, leverages. So leverage is a risk associated with the company having fixed financial commitment. That is the theme of this chapter. What are the most important models they've been asking from this model, dear students? BEP and margin of safety. Basing on income statement preparation and calculation of leverages, they've been asking from this model. So past exam, if you understand, November 18, May 19 and June 21 they asked. So this is the very, very important. Thereafter, missing values. Missing values means they will give you some data and they will ask you to construct an income statement, right? So that is the missing value. Past exam, if you understand, 2021 and 22, 23 also they asked from this missing value. How do you calculate EBIT basing on asset turnover ratio? How do you calculate sales basing on asset turnover ratio? How do you calculate EBIT with the support of financial leverage? How do you calculate fixed cost from margin of break-even sales? How do you calculate operating leverage from margin of safety? All these things are the missing values they will used to ask. And at the same time, finally, the comprehensive problems. These students, you try to understand, when they will give income statement, they will ask leverages. When they give leverages, they will ask you to prepare income statement. When they mix the both, right, that model is called comprehensive problem model, right? So comprehensive model, it covers both. For that purpose, you have to pay attention. Why? Because you try to understand May 18, 19, 21, 22, 23. All these years they've been asked this model, right? And thereafter, dividend decision, whether dividend to be distributed or retained. This is the ultimate question the client has, right? Here you try to understand what are the models. There are two types of models, you know that. A relevant model, irrelevant models. Walter, Gordon, Graham Dodd, Linton. This is the relevant. Modigliani, Miller, irrelevant. But if you observe it, Walter model, never skip, never skip, never skip. how many problems the mastermind provided, guess questions from that, right? You thoroughly solve that problems, please learn immediately, right? Because they've been asked, you see, in 18, 19, 19, 20, 21, 23. Past exam, major attention they've been given from only Walter theory, where market price equal to D plus E minus D into R divided by KE whole divided by KE. Okay, thereafter you should not ignore Gordon's model. Gordon's model also relevant model, where market price because of dividend decision DPS1 divided by KE minus growth rate. Wonderful model. This is Gordon model. So they asked this model, but majority Walter model they've been concentrating, and the dividend discount model also they've been identified, where we supposed to learn intrinsic value, and we used to identify whether security is overvalued and undervalued. Basing on that, we used to make a calculation. And the Linter's dividend model also important. They asked in November 23, right? So you learn all these models from one question, guarantee, pakka, right? Next, capital investment decision, right? Thereafter, advanced concepts in investment decision. Same, we evaluate a project basing on NPV, where we used to consider various costs, sunk cost, common cost, as well as what is that, opportunity cost. These are the costs we used to consider. And at the same time, replacement and modernization decision. So you may, this model replacement decision also important. Thereafter, NPV IRR conflict plays very, very important, because under this NPV IRR conflict, life disparity, cash flow disparity, size disparity is there, but only life disparity they've been asked. Pay attention for this model. And adjusted NPV also very, very important, where adjusted NPV equal to base case NPV plus tax benefit on debt we used to consider. Basing on that, we used to calculate adjusted NPV. Pay attention for this model also. And the management of working capital, very, very, very important chapter, right? You try to understand the purpose of management of working capital is how much working capital is needed in order to run our business comfortably, in order to produce a given number of units in the coming year. That is the ultimate theme line of working capital management. Here, this model consists of first model, estimation of working capital for existing company, for new company. Two models are there, approximately 4 to 5 problems are given. You pay attention for this one, because 18, 19, 20, 23 continuously this model covered. So thereafter, operating cycle also very, very important. Operating cycle is a combination of various individual holding period. Dear students, here if you observe which method plays very, very important, means evaluation of a project basing on NPV is evergreen. So if you observe calculation of NPV by considering working capital, subsidy, contribution ratio, right, profit and loss and present value factor, all these things, by considering all these things, you have to evaluate a project. That's important. In past exam 18, 19, 20, 22, only this model they've been concentrating. And thereafter, second model, they will ask you to find some missing values. Missing value also very, very important. So they used to ask you cost of capital, they used to ask you IRR, when NPV, cash inflows, the data are given, right? So this model also you pay attention. Thereafter, comprehensive problems. Comprehensive problems means not only NPV, all the methods collectively they may ask you. This model also very, very important. Here it consists of IRR, it will comes payback period, it will comes discounted payback period, profitability index, whatnot, all the methods will cover. So past exam track, if you observe May 19, January 21 and November 23 also they asked, right? So estimation of various individual holding period and calculating operating cycle. So this model also important. January 21 also they asked. Thereafter, management of receivables, very, very important, whether credit period is to be offered or extended. This model plays very, very important. Past exam, if you see 18, 21, 23. So from this model, you try to complete all the problems, right? And factoring, it is one of the financial service taken by the company in order to effective management of receivables, right? Here, this model problem, factoring also they've been asking. So December 21 also they asked. Another one is a cash budget, systematic estimation of availability of a cash at a particular time period by considering receipt and payments, right? That is a cash budget we used to prepare. November 19 they asked, December 21 also they asked. So hardly from this chapter one question we can expect, okay? But if you are good at all these models, right, you can confidently handle the question paper. Learn this model, solve the guest questions of our institute. have a proper plan and strategy, be confident. Having be confident is a 50% pakka pass, right? And finally, work out for exemption. All the best. Jai Hind, Balasubramaniam.